My name is Laura, and I'm a nurse. After another hectic day at work, I headed home, though I arrived a bit later than usual today. Welcome back. My daughter Meg greeted me as I walked through the door. It must be so lonely for a third grader to wait at home alone every day, and I always feel a pang of guilt when I see her. Despite my own feelings, I know some of my colleagues envy me because I work at the town's hospital, which doesn't require night shifts. Where's your dad today? I asked Meg, noticing his absence. He hasn't come home yet, Meg replied. I wonder when he'll be back. It feels like I haven't seen him in ages. Stan, my husband, is a workaholic and rarely spends time at home. I can't even remember the last time we had a family meal together or he helped with the housework. To be fair, he does spend time with his family, just not with Meg and me. On his days off, he goes to his mother's house to help with gardening, cleaning, and having dinner. He's never been to Meg's soccer practices or spelling bee contests, always prioritizing his parents over us. Because of this, Stan and I have grown apart. I'm sorry, honey, I said, holding Meg close. I'm so sorry for making you feel lonely all the time. I'm fine, Mom. You come home every day, so that's enough for me, Meg reassured me. My heart ached for her. If we were a typical family, we'd spend more time together and be happier. No matter how many times I apologized, it never felt like enough. Then one day, Stan came home at a normal time, a rare occurrence. Our mutual affection for him had waned, and conversation was sparse. During dinner, Stan suddenly broke the silence. Why don't we go to Hawaii for the upcoming holidays? I stared at him in disbelief. A family trip? It had been years since we traveled together. Stan was suggesting this trip to also celebrate his mother's 60th birthday. His priority was clear once again, his mother over us. I was fed up, but when Meg's eyes lit up with excitement, I felt conflicted. We can go to Hawaii? I really want to go, she exclaimed, thrilled at the prospect of her first visit to Hawaii. Seeing Meg so happy made me hesitate, although the idea of a family trip after so many years felt bittersweet, especially with Stan's mother involved. I didn't want to disappoint Meg. All right, I guess so, I said with a sigh. It's been a while since we've all been together as a family, so let's go. On the day of the trip, Stan and I had work, so we planned to meet at the airport. Unfortunately, my shift ran longer than expected, and I was running very late. After work, Meg and I rushed to the airport. We took the bus and finally arrived, but an unexpected problem arose. They're not here, I said, glancing around anxiously. Stan and Kate were nowhere to be seen. I searched the airport frantically but couldn't spot them. Where could they be? I checked my phone, but there were no missed calls. I tried reaching Stan and Kate, only to be met with the frustrating message. The number you have dialed is either not powered on right now or has no signal. Desperation set in, and I approached the airline's reception desk for help. A ground staff member looked up and asked, Are you Miss Laura Martin? Pardon, I replied, confused. Yes, I finally said, unsure how they knew my name. The staff member handed me a piece of paper. I was asked to give this to you. I unfolded the paper, my heart sinking as I read the message. If you can't be on time, we will take you. You'll have to make your own arrangements. Why don't you just camp out somewhere around here? Stan and Kate, stunned, I felt a surge of anger and disbelief. Meg noticed my distress. Mom, what's wrong? I forced a smile, trying to stay calm. Oh, it's nothing, sweetie. It looks like your dad and Grandma went ahead without us. So, we can't go to Hawaii? Meg asked, her excitement fading. I tried to reassure her. Yes, we can. We can catch up with them and get on another flight. In reality, though, we didn't have the funds for another ticket. As I pondered our options, an elderly man collapsed in front of me, adding to the chaos of the situation. I wasn't sure what was happening, but my instincts kicked in, perhaps due to my years of nursing experience. Are you okay? I asked, checking the elderly man's breathing. It had stopped. Oh my God. I quickly turned him onto his back and opened his airway. As I examined his mouth, I discovered something lodged inside. It appeared to be part of his vomit, obstructing his breathing. Please, someone call an ambulance, I shouted, starting emergency treatment. When the ambulance arrived, the old man was swiftly transported to the emergency room. Fortunately, he regained consciousness. Was it you who saved me? He asked weakly. Yes, I replied, though I felt I had only performed a basic procedure. That's not true, he insisted. Thank you so much. I thought I was done for. He was stable enough to talk. and it appeared there were no significant heart or organ issues. You saved my life. Let me thank you properly. I'm James. No need for that, I said, shaking my head. I just did what anyone would have done. By the way, were you traveling somewhere? James asked. Yes, I was supposed to go to Hawaii with my daughter, but we missed our flight. Oh no, that's terrible, he said, looking concerned. It's my fault. I quickly waved off his concern. No, we were already running late and I couldn't get here in time due to work. You didn't do anything wrong. I sighed and laughed. I guess we'll just head home. James looked at me with sympathy. That's a shame. Your daughter must have been looking forward to it. Why don't you buy another ticket? I felt a bit embarrassed as I admitted, well, I'm a little ashamed to say this, but we don't have enough money for another flight. James nodded thoughtfully. Okay then. As a way of thanking you, I'll buy tickets for both you and your daughter. That should solve the problem, right? Wait, no, I can't accept that, I protested. It's completely okay, James insisted with a warm smile. It's the least I can do. Hey, you, James called out to a female staff member who was passing by. He then borrowed a cell phone and made a quick call. After a brief conversation, he hung up and turned back to me. Really, don't worry about it, I said, trying to decline his offer. If I don't find a way to thank you, I won't be able to rest peacefully, James insisted. At that moment, the paper with Stan and Kate's message fell out of my pocket. Thanks to James, Meg and I managed to board the airplane. To my astonishment, he had purchased us expensive business class tickets. His generosity allowed us to enjoy a very comfortable flight, and we finally arrived in Hawaii safely. However, I faced a new challenge. I had no idea which hotel Stan and Kate were staying at. I wished I had asked them beforehand. Hello, are you Laura and Meg? A man called out as we exited the airport. Yes, that's us, I replied, puzzled. Nice to meet you, he said, handing me his business card. I noticed it was from a well-known logistics company. I heard about you from the chairman of our company, he said with a smile. Thank you, I said, still confused. The elderly man you helped at the airport is the chairman of our company, he explained. Oh, really? I responded, surprised by the revelation. I was stunned by the revelation that James, whom we had met at the airport, was the chairman of a major company. On the chairman's orders, we'll take you both to your hotel, the man said as he led us to a sleek black limousine. I had never been inside such a luxurious vehicle before. Wow, this is amazing, Meg exclaimed, her excitement palpable as she enjoyed her first ride in a limousine. I made sure my shoes were spotless before stepping into the car. The view of Hawaii from the windows was breathtaking, an endless summer landscape that made me feel incredibly fortunate. At one point, I doubted we would make it, but seeing Hawaii's beauty made me so glad we managed to come after all. Meg pressed her face against the window, soaking in the scenery. When we arrived at a grand hotel, its opulence was evident. As we approached, I realized a crucial detail. Oh no, I didn't book a room, I mumbled to myself. Please don't worry, the man assured me. We've already reserved a room on the top floor. But I don't have enough money for this, I protested. You don't need to worry about that. The bill has already been taken care of, he replied. I was astonished by how much James had arranged for us. This level of VIP treatment was unfamiliar and left me feeling bewildered. Inside the hotel, I was amazed by the room. It was a lavish suite, far more spacious than necessary for just the two of us. The view of the ocean and the stunning sunset from the large windows was nothing short of spectacular. A dedicated hotel staff member was available to assist us with anything we needed, and the food was exquisite, far beyond anything I had ever experienced. They even grilled the most expensive steak right in front of us. The meal was exceptional, leaving me constantly impressed. After dinner, Meg and I wandered through the lobby. We heard raised voices coming from a corner and turned to find a man and a woman arguing with the hotel staff. Is that? I wondered aloud. Yes, it's my husband and my mother-in-law, Meg said, recognizing them. Hey, what are you both doing here? I called out, approaching them. They looked at us in surprise. What? We came here as planned, Stan said. You've done something terrible to us, even though it was your idea to go on this trip, Kate said, still irritated. Well, you were late, Stan said, glancing at Kate as if to say more. I feel bad about that, but you didn't have to suggest we camp out, I replied, feeling frustrated. Kate didn't seem remorseful at all for her actions. The confrontation left a sour note, but I tried to focus on making the most of our unexpected and luxurious trip. I couldn't bring myself to forgive them. By the way, why are you arguing with the hotel staff? I asked Stan, who looked furious. When I tried to check in, they told me to leave. I don't understand what's going on, Stan said, seething. I turned to the hotel staff for clarification. Can you explain this situation? The staff member nodded. We were instructed not to let these individuals stay here. They left our very important and valued guests behind, which is unforgivable. Now, it made sense. James had significant influence over the hotel. The chairman of such a major company certainly held a lot of power, and it was clear you didn't want to cross him. Stan and Kate looked puzzled. What does this have to do with us? Stan demanded. It's a long story, the staff member replied, but the chairman can't forgive you for abandoning Megan. When you left her behind, it was seen as a serious offense. Stan and Kate were bewildered. How does someone from this hotel know about that? I understood their confusion but felt it was what they deserved. I took out a business card, the same one given to me by the man who had helped us from the airport. This is... The hotel staff member's eyes widened as he examined the card. This is from one of our major clients. Stan's face turned pale as he took the card from me, his hands trembling. Kate's expression mirrored his shock. You know the chairman of this company? Stan asked, his voice quivering. Of course, I replied. He collapsed at the airport, and I helped him. In gratitude, he arranged our flight and booked our hotel room. Kate fell to the floor, trembling. What's wrong, Mom? He's in the same gym club as me, Kate stammered. Everyone looks up to him. The coincidence was staggering. I was amazed to learn that my mother-in-law knew the chairman. Before Kate's revelation, I had already learned about it from James himself. He had seen the paper that fell from my pocket and recognized the situation. Laura, what is this? James had asked when he saw the paper. Well, I had explained, we were abandoned by my mother-in-law and husband. That's terrible, James said. But I recognize that last name. Is your mother-in-law's last name Martin? Yes, it is. Her name is Kate Martin. James nodded. I know her. She's also a member of my gym club. I wouldn't have expected her to act this way. I looked at Stan and Kate with a wry smile. Since you've decided to leave us behind, I guess we'll just enjoy the trip on our own. I turned to Kate. Why don't you camp out somewhere nearby? Enjoy the Hawaiian night under the stars. Hey, wait, that's terrible. Kate yelled, her anger rising. You're being incredibly rude, Stan shouted. Stan and Kate continued to protest, but I simply shook my head, ready to make the most of our unexpected adventure with Meg. As I turned my back on Stan and Kate, I couldn't help but find their behavior ridiculous. They had thrown harsh words at me, but when I stood up for myself, they called me terrible and rude. I burst out laughing. Let's go, I said, taking Meg's hand. Meg nodded, and we walked away together. Behind us, the hotel staff was still firmly denying Stan and Kate entry, despite their protests. Get out of here, the staff said. We don't have rooms for you. Finally, Stan and Kate left the hotel, and we were free to enjoy our trip to Hawaii on our own. With Stan's influence almost completely gone from Meg's life, there was no need to think about him at all. I was amazed by the unexpected gift of this wonderful trip, a direct result of helping an elderly man. We were deeply grateful to him for making this experience possible. After returning home, the trip felt like a refreshing escape. Meg seemed to be very satisfied with the vacation, and I was happy to have shared it with her. As for Stan and Kate, their troubles didn't end with their departure from the hotel. Upon returning home, Stan was exhausted and disheveled. It turned out that James' instructions had been communicated to every hotel in Hawaii, and Stan and Kate had spent their time camping out in the wilderness. The consequences of their actions were severe. Stan's boss informed him that the contract with James' company was being canceled, and Kate faced cold treatment from her gym club members, eventually leading to her expulsion. With her primary hobby now lost, she retreated to spending most of her time watching TV and had given up on staying in shape. Stan and I decided it was best to end our marriage. We officially divorced, and custody of Meg was awarded to me. I didn't receive alimony or child support, but my income was sufficient to support Meg without any issues. I would never see my mother-in-law again. Reflecting on everything, it seemed almost fated that my accidental delay at the airport led to such an extraordinary experience. The timing of helping the chairman of a major company, who happened to be known to Kate, was a remarkable twist of fate. Despite everything that went wrong with Stan, I had no regrets. My life was centered around my precious daughter, and I felt fulfilled without meeting anyone else.